the feedback that we are getting from y'all. And just want to mention here any ideas, any topics that you want us to talk in regards to the people piece. We are talking about the legal marketing series, in particular today, intake, and the $25,000 fix in 30 days, turning your existing pipeline into paying clients. They're sitting there waiting for you to tell them what to do. And guess what? We're not increasing your marketing spend. It's not requiring you to record more videos or do webinars or all the things that tend to delegate back up to us as entrepreneurs in regards to that. So we're talking about this is tried, tested, proven. I see this every single day, and I know a lot of my friends that join us here every Thursday are in law firm admin boot camp. So tell your team we are about to do a 30-day intake challenge. I'm going to give out prizes and gift cards, and for all of our intake and sales team that show up fully and play full out in regards to this. But I've seen it over and over and over again. When I worked in law firms, this was one of the challenges that I would have, and really being able to mine my pipelines, to really own the data, to own the leads, and really not treating all leads. I've been talking about this. You're probably sick of me over and over again into one bucket. Your next $25,000 exists in your CRM. And the good news is you are not responsible for pushing it if you're a legal leader, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're the attorney. All you have to do is empower your team, your intake team, front of the house, client service coordinator, whatever naming conventions resonate with you, that they have full permission to take this, let's call it a project on. Let's have some fun and some gamification around it, and don't make it heavy and hard for people. You've seen the studies everywhere, and they're changing on the daily. But the 7-11 4 rule before somebody buys. And there's a book called, to write this down, Get Clients Now, that one of my first attorneys that I worked for, who was also and still is, an extraordinary business and attorney coach, taught me. And it's a book called Get Clients Now. There's a study in there from 1823, guys, and talking about the buying journey of a prospective client. In there, 1823, it says that it's not until touch 12 that you get somebody's attention for them to say, I should really consider buying this. Touch 12 from 1823. And there has never been an easier time now, but it's saying 7 hours of engagement with your firm, with your content. 7 hours of engagement and 11 touch points and interactions with your brand, meaning also your intake team, on 4 different locations or channels where they encounter, experience, relate to you for one sale. Now, this might seem soul crushing and overwhelming, but as I teach the firms that I work with, it's not. Don't let these numbers scare you. Let them empower you and excite you, and let's systematize this puppy. So you think about 7 hours of engagement, you're like, holy moly, how's that happening? No, 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 no. You have to remember in regards to that. So they're interacting, seeing your video on your meta ads or whatever it might be. A lot of our clients do VSLs, video sales letters. They do webinars, either evergreen, live. They do workshops, they do speaking events, what have you. So what they're seeing your video and they're opting in regards to that. Then they're getting a phone call from the client service coordinator, welcoming them, confirming them, what have you. Then they attend the event, watch the webinar, attend the workshop in person or what have you, depending on the length of that, 1 hour, 90 minutes, what have you, or if it's a VSL, 20 minutes. You see this chipping, 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 chipping. A blog that goes out every week. The last week of the month, it's a newsletter. This is engagement with your content. They're seeing you on social media. They're getting your blog. They're getting the phone call. They're seeing your reel. They're seeing your video. These are all what your digital and social media and your marketing dollars are doing for you. When it comes to the touch points, that's where your intake team, your client services step in. I can't tell you how many firms that I talk to that say we follow up 3 times and then throw them on the newsletter list or the blog list or TOMA, top of mind awareness or what have you. I'm like, no, you need to consistently. Now, are you calling them every day? No, for 11, touch points straight. No, you're going to be incredibly authentic and intentional around that. And I'm going to talk about this strategy behind that. Most often, when I get feedback from the follow-up team, let's call that, and I know there's many people in sales and marketing say, "Don't use the F word, follow-up. You have to be creative." You could call it a client care call, you can call it a check-in point, what have you. But for this conversation purposes, that is typically a household term, and an office term in business is follow-up. So those 11 touch points, you're not bothering them. You're not being a pain in the ass. I love it when people are like, "Oh, Miss Smith, we saw that you registered for our event. We saw that you just entered into our Google review contest. We saw that you just opened our blog or what have you." You get the drill. They're giving you breadcrumbs on excuses that people say of why to follow up with them. I run out of reasons. I run out with excuses. Pay attention to the engagement. Pay attention to all that. And it's no longer heavy and hard in 4 different locations. So, for some of you that are like, we get all of our business from referrals, you hear me talking about this all the time. You have to be visible and you have to be online. So, whether it's email, phone, text, social media, blog, right there, we've already maxed out the 4, we've already exceeded the 4 different locations rule here. So, where the money is already hiding in your pipelines. And the gap one is at your current pipeline most recent leads. And the gap there is people are just focused on that, focused on that, focused on that. I hear terms all the time about leads. I'm like, what about pipeline? Then they'll tell me about their pipeline. I'm like, you're using that terminology like case management, post engagement. So those are your workflows and stages when we are delivering on the promises we made when they hired us for legal services. But people confuse all these terminologies. Get your naming conventions clear. I'll hear people use terminologies like clients. I'm like, whoa, 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 time out. We were just talking about, following up post initial consultation. Why are you using terminology client? They're not a client yet. They're still in your sales pipeline. So getting really, really clear on your language around that. And so the current pipeline, the gap that I see, and I hit this already, is that we have a rule, if you're lucky if you even have one. Most people don't even have a system in regard to how many times are we following up with current leads, most recent leads before they move into a pipeline. So are we following up with them? Hopefully, it is at least 7 times before they go into a back from the dead campaign, a pipeline, yesterday's leads, warm leads, whatever naming conventions you have around that. It has to be more than 3 in this day and age. Get your staging and your times down in regards to that. Like I said, you're not going to call them if it's 11 touch points, you're not going to call them 11 days in a row. You have to be intentional, authentic, and strategic around that. And then again, making sure what your system, most law firms that I work with, it is a phone call, it's a text if you are capturing text numbers, which is typically easy to do with B2C. So prospective clients are the C, consumers or clients, however you name that, and then an email. Miss Smith just left you a voicemail. Want to make sure that you received it and you're confirming that. That's 3 touches right there. So meet with your team, and team, if you're here today, insist in your marketing meetings, in your sales meeting, in your L10 meetings, in your weekly stakeholders meeting that we declare what our system is. And so if it's currently 3 touches, we're like, let's stretch this puppy and let's change it to 7 right now and let's just see. Because when I do these fun 30-day challenges, and I'm getting ready to do one next week for marketing, sales, and power hour, I'm gonna do a 30-day challenge in regards to having them track exactly what touch it is that moved people to the place of decision. The last time I did this was, I think, in October, and the number one trending touch was touch number 6. So they're like, "Wow, we were only following up with 3 people 3 times." So stretch the limits and track it. Gap number 2 is back from the dead campaign. So often, I'll hear from attorneys, "Well, if they don't engage or what have you, I don't want tire kickers and plate lickers. I'm not gonna chase people. They're not interested. They don't have the money." All the stories. I'm like, "No, it's a sales problem." That's a sales problem there. And people, you didn't do a good job of making certain that they knew the cause and effect and impact of indecision, of not taking action. You didn't bring intake in to figure out what the commitment was for them in regards to when they wanted you to follow up with them, re-engage with them, what have you. So I see people don't have separate pipelines of current leads, most current leads, then when they move over and pour over into the next pipeline, which from terminology that resonates back from the dead campaigns, and then also client care calls. And we're going to talk about all three of these. So, how law firms that are not only winning, but crushing it fix these gaps. They are clear on the different pipelines. Your client services and intake coordinators have time chunks in their calendar for this. I can't tell you how many people I meet with and they say, "Well, I do my follow-up calls on Mondays from 10 to 11 or from 1 to 2 after lunch." I'm like, "Same time every single week? How do you know? You all love split testing and marketing. Why aren't we split testing with the phones as well?" That's another thing we do in the challenges as well to see. And they're like, "Wow, I never would have guessed it that the best time to follow up with people are on Tuesdays at 4 o'clock or doing it on Thursdays at 5 o'clock." I have a firm that the client service coordinator asked the attorney, "Is it okay if I work on Saturday mornings?" Because during the challenge, we test this and it was the highest conversion. Yes, absolutely. Now, again, we're not paying overtime. Don't go into all the employment laws and challenges or what have you. But Susie Q is taking off half day Friday and working half day Saturday because she's psyched. She has a bonus attached to this. Everybody wins in regard to it. So you have current pipeline where you build your 3 touch callback sequence: call, text, email within 24 hours, and figuring out my recommendation. I'm using 3 touch, making sure you always do call, text, email. Guess what we're doing now? We're split testing and we are tracking to see which one converts the highest. There's no rhyme or reason based on regions, age, your avatar client in regards to your service area and your legal service that you offer. I've seen results all over the board. Some firms are like calls are absolutely what are have the highest conversion. Text and family law has the highest conversion over calls. They don't want people hearing them talking. The people are afraid, so they're not going to answer phone calls. They're not going to communicate. It's easy for them to be keyboard warriors or what have you. And I have others that are emails. Again, your emails, how do we know of the engagement or what have you, making sure we have powerful questions, making sure our CRM tracks open rate, click through rate separately, both of those. And so we're really tracking all that to see which one works the best. Not that we're going to stop doing any of them, but we are always going to have that. You're not a pain in the butt. You guys are on so many people, legal vendors lists. And you typically get a call from them, then you get an email from them, then you get a text from them. And they're tracking and seeing which one converts the highest. And you're not being like barbaric with it or what have you. You just don't know if you're going to somebody's spam, if emails, hey, real quick, check your voicemail. If that works better, call me. If not, reply the email or text me. I know you're in court, whatever works best for you. And like, wow, they get me, they understand me, what have you. Then back from the dead campaigns where we are re-engaging every 45 days. This is where so many businesses, law firms fail in regards to that. And every 45 days, your client services team have a next action. And this is where people miss the mark. They throw them into a pipeline if you're lucky, and they don't have a next action in regards to that. So if I'm done with all my current pipeline, and this is what I did in law firms and what I teach as well, even in my own company, then we got to make certain that they have a 45-day touch until they buy, die, or unsubscribe or tell us to pound sand and what have you. No news does not mean no, it means not now. There's another great book that is probably like 20 pages long. I think it's $3 on Amazon. That's called Get to Know. And the science behind that study is it's usually 26 touches before you get to a no, and you can't wait until you get to a no. Then you know your conversions in regards to that. So, no fear of rejection. I tell team members this all the time. You're not sad and disappointed if you keep hitting voicemail. You're not sad and disappointed if nobody's engaging and responding. Keep going, keep going. When you call Mrs. Smith, and you don't hear back from her. Now she's on that 45-day back from the dead campaign. And today we wake up and it's June 18th and it's day 45 or what have you. And you call her and you get her voicemail and you're not, no emotions in this game at all, gang, and what have you. But when you're pumped, when you come back from the 4th of July and you walk in and it's July 6th, July 7th, July 8th, and guess who's calling you? Mrs. Smith. You're like, ding, 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 winner, winner, chicken dinner. So she was in the 45-day. It took her, I can't do math, maybe 17 days post a 45-day. You're like, all right, I got my first data point here. So I know that even on calls I'm making in 45 days, then guess what? Larry calls you back on July 9th or what have you. You're like, son of a gun, he was in the 45-day. You get the drill. So now we're tracking this data. And if I was a business owner or what have you, I'm like, okay, hire a full-time appointment setter overseas or what have you, 8, 9, $10 or what have you, and let's have them calling. Their goal is to do 75 outbound calls a day. They're doing 75 today. The rest of them get a 45-day. And you're going to strategically place them. You're not going to wake up in exactly 45 days on a Tuesday. You're going to do it. You're going to sprinkle some Tuesday, Wednesday, different times, what have you, within your task. And then this why people peter out on this because they get exhausted and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm waking up on, August 18th or what have you. And now I have 75 upcoming tasks. Well, it's your job description and motion. These are the most important. So don't kill yourself. On average, you can handle about 56 outbound calls a day. Figure out your number. And then the last is client care calls. And past clients are in rotation every 90 days. So this is super exciting, right? Your intake and client services and sales teams, now they're building a time template. Now they're chunking it out. They're not waking up every day feeling overwhelmed. They're not waking up every day with everyone looking at them. What the hell are you doing all day? The calendar's empty. We're not meeting our goals. We're not meeting our KPIs. And it's exciting because when they're every 90 days and they're checking in with them authentically, they are client care calls. Where you at? Just checking in. Anything changed? Anything we can help you with? Lo and behold, people are like, you're not going to believe this. Do you have a camera in my kitchen? The husband and I were just talking about you last week. My neighbor and I at happy hour were just talking about blah, blah, blah. I just read your blog. You see, the compound effect. So your team is not overwhelmed in this. They're excited about it because they could plan their work, work their plan, and now they're geeking out on all of these conversions. So the 4 steps to convert these leads, your firm already has. Guys, I'm being so conservative with the additional 75 or $25,000 in 30 days. Conservative. Like, it is absolutely gonna be more than that if your team starts this today. I promise you. Like, I literally will give you back your time if I'm wrong, which I know I'm not. Well, if 30 days from now and you start off, August 1st or what have you, start tracking the money, put it on a whiteboard in the kitchen or in their office like the old days in the sales pit. So you have to audit your pipeline is number one. Find the leads with no second call, the no-shows, the never rescheduled, said they were going to, the unsigned retainers that are still out there. That list is your starting point. And then you're going to move into re engaging strategically, authentically, compassionately, sending a personal, specific message to every unconverted prospect, not a form email. This is not about automations. I know everybody loves automations and campaigns and all that right now. I'm not talking about hiding out behind technology. I'm talking about human to human contact. And then you're referencing their situation. And then now we're going to start valuing the lead. Now we're going to start strategically getting them in the pipelines. And we're going to be present and we're going to be aware. And then we're doing the 3 touch minimum before we get them into the next pipeline in the rotation. They might give you clues and say, I've been thinking about you. I know I need to do this right now. I'm going on vacation for going to the beach house for the summer, what have you. Please, can you check in with me? We'll be back on September 1st. So it might be more than 45 days. You got to be present and aware of all this. And then client care calls you. Set a 5-minute response standard for every new lead inquiry. It's not creepy. I cannot tell you how many times I would get a lead when I was running sales and I would pick up the phone and say then we just received your inquiry. You just download our PDF thing. You just opt in and blah, 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 or what have you. Thank you. I'm just curious. How'd you find us? Even if you can clearly see Meta ad, Google AdWord, PPC, LSA, what have you, it doesn't matter. Just pick up the phone. They're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. They picked up the phone and called me. Nobody ever does that anymore. And then I get this all the time from people when I get sales calls. I got one this morning. I'm like, I am so impressed that you picked up the phone. I just opted in your thing. Literally, I didn't have time to do whatever. But yes, I want to follow up with you. Fridays are my days for that. I'm packed tomorrow, but can you call? Then it's a holiday. Call me back August 2nd. Actually, I'll put in my calendar right now. And you sign a named owner. I cannot tell you how many people do not have a signed owner. Doesn't go to a department if there are multiple people in the department. Own the leads, mind the leads, data hygiene, making certain, and we are reviewing this as a team weekly. And then we're tracking conversions daily, not monthly, not quarterly, not weekly. We are tracking our outbound calls, our contacts made, re-engaged leads, and we're giving this information back to marketing. And so we're really tracking all of this. So I don't know where you are right now. How much money is sitting inside your pipeline from past clients, existing prospects, old leads? I always, I love that. I just watched a podcast this morning, a video podcast from Alex Hermosi, and he, but you don't know him. I love him. I've been to acquisition.com. I love everything he stands for, but he's always talking about LTV, right? Lifetime value of a client. This is where people are missing it, especially if you are in transactional base. It's not a one and done. It's not a one and wow. So, can you today open up your CRM and be able to tell how much money is sitting in your pipeline in that regard? If not, do the math. Literally see how many people are sitting there. It might be this huge bucket of 898 people that are still sitting somewhere in the ether called prior to engagement, did not engage. Take your average fee. Is it 5,000? Is it 10,000? Is it 3,000? Is it 3,500? Whatever it is, and do some silly math. You're gonna be like, "Oh my goodness." And just for, like, worst case scenario, if only 1%, which I know it's better than that, 1% if I'm converted, how much money would you be generating in less than 30 days if we actually empowered, excited, created some gamification and fun, and got somebody who's probably sitting on your team waiting for a project like this to do this? What is your pipeline management and follow-up strategy? Do you know it in your bones and your blood? Do your team, do they know it in the bones and blood? I had a call yesterday with a law firm, admin boot camp firm or what have you, and I loved it because the attorneys was so excited. She's like, "This is so cool. Let me show you my screen right now." Pulled up Lawmatics and showed me all the different parts. I am so giddy right now. We have $278,000 sitting in the pipeline right now, and every single one of them have a 45-day touch point. How exciting would that be? Do you know it in your bones? Do you know when you're waking up and walking through, driving to court or whatever it might be, and you think of Mrs. Smith and she hired us a year ago and you're driving by her house or whatever it is, and you're like, "Gosh, wait, I wonder how she's doing." No, you don't have to guess anymore because 'cause you're like, "I know that Molly's got that in her client care pipeline, and I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna get the report. I'm gonna be like, 'Oh, Miss Smith, that's great,' and I'm gonna have her words. VOC, voice of the customer. I'm gonna understand that. Oh, my husband just died. What? Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Let's send flowers. Let's whatever, what have you. So there's so much goodness from referral sources, all of that, to really not treat it like a transactional. And do you track your pipeline follow up activity daily? And by you, I don't necessarily mean you, the attorney, but you collectively, somebody on your team own it. I talked about this last week. Who owns that pipeline? Who owns it? Who's the leader of it? And they better be protecting it like a boss. Like this is their jam. This is what excites them. They're so excited for personal, professional victory to see when they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm starting to see my conversions working." I see this every day. People reporting in law firm M and bootcamp. I'm so excited. I've been making calls. I'm following the process. And we got somebody from March 2023 that just came back in. That's amazing. That is a hell of an ROI of your team's time, of their hourly rate. Plus, they better have a bonus system attached to this. And it's so exciting for them. You might be training your next non attorney salesperson. You might be training your next community outreach and marketing coordinator. The possibilities are absolutely endless. So, in typical fashion, we have a gift for you, a pipeline revenue leak audit. Scan the code, find exactly where your firm is losing money between lead and retained client. Ready to stop leaving revenue on the table? And guess what? When I say you, I mean client services, intake coordinators, empower your team to love this. I have my team do this as well. So, all right, get the code, scan it, no excuses. Reach out if you need help, and we'll see you next